Hi, I'm Sally and this is the tutorial for my Thomas the Tank Engine charm. For this design you will need grey bands for the face and for this part here, red bands at the bottom, some black, 2 yellow and some sort of dark or sort of a royal, sort of a blue colour. So let's get started. So taking your loom in the staggered configuration at first, arrows pointing towards you, we're going to make a starburst for his face. So we're going to place a single grey band over the top pin in the centre. Then taking 2 grey bands, we are going from the first left pin to the centre, then going down on the left hand side, pushing them down, then going diagonally into the centre from, this is the third centre pin, out to the the right second, and then going up the right hand side from the second to the first peg, and then back to where we started. So you've got a hexagon shape that looks like this. And the camera does film mirrored, so it might not look quite right with what I'm saying, but because it's the opposite way, so it might look like I'm working on the left, but it may look like I'm working on the right in the camera. So, but I can assure you this is what I'm doing. I'm taking another single band from the centre to the top pin, and then we're going to work round in an anti-clockwise forgotten the word. We're going anti-clockwise. My mind just went completely blank then. So again, if it looks like I'm saying clockwise, I am going anti-clockwise. It's just mirrored. So you're just going from the centre pin and out to each of the 6 pins. So it's like this. We're going to place a cap band on this centre pin here that's right in the middle. So we're taking a single band and we're wrapping it around 3 times around the centre pin, like so. And before we begin to loop, we are going to get his eyes ready because we're going to thread these on as we loop. So taking 2 single black bands and taking your hook, you're going to wrap the bands individually around your hook 3 times. So it looks like this. Same again. So 3 times around your hook. Just slide them up towards the end of your hook, and we'll add them on in a moment. So we're going to place them on the band that runs between the centre pin to this pin and the centre pin to this pin. So the first one we loop, we will need to thread one of these bands onto. So you're going in through the cap band, pushing it right back, and just taking the band that is on top, like so, and we're threading, provided it is the one that goes to this pin here, we're threading one of these wrap bands onto the band that is on your hook before we loop it. I am so sorry, my phone is noisy, and to be honest, I forgot it was in here. I'm just going to make it be quiet, and we're going to work our way around, and there we go, sorry, and we're going to go in through the cap band. Very unprofessional of me, I do apologise. And we're just going to loop out. So you're going in, taking the top band and bringing it round and onto the pin where it's come from. So bringing it out and round and where it's come from, again, once you get to this pin here, so either side of the top pin, you're threading this band on like so, and then the last one goes straight up. So it should look like this, and we're going to go around the outside. So finding, it's the last band that you put on when you did the hexagon. So if you do it the same way as me, you want to start on the very top pin, and you're taking the top 2 bands and looping them round. If you did it in a different way, then it's whichever band you put on last you want to loop. And then I'm going in through the second pin. I think my hand might be in the way, but my bands are going to jump off the pin if I don't hold them. And you're just looping forwards, so you're working round in a clockwise way. So you put them on anti-clockwise and you loop them up clockwise, so you're going opposite, and that way they should all catch with no problem whatsoever. So looping all the way round like so. And once your face is all looped up like this, we're going to take this band that we put on that's just loose, going to put our hook down through this top center pin here, find that single band with your hook, pull it up and bring it forward as if you're going to loop it. Take the second band on your hook and then take the top band here right over the other band and the end of your hook like so. Put it tight, and that will make a slip knot. And then I'm going to remove this from my loom, like so. You should have a little circle. Just sort of manipulate it a little bit, push the centre out and stretch it so that you can see the eyes. This band that we've used to tie it off with, we're going to hide. So we're going to take our hook through a couple of the bands, through the back of the face, and pull this tying band through those bands so that's underneath, and it will just help to tuck it out of the way and keep it looking neat. So we're going to place this to one side. Next we're going to make an extension, and what this will do, it will just help to make it a little bit wider, because as you can see on this design, you may be able to see, there are 5 rows. So we're just going to make the piece to go this side and the piece to go this side, just to make it a little bit wider. And if you're making it on a rainbow loom, obviously you've only got 3 rows. So to make the extension piece, you're going to take 2 black bands together and place them going down your loom once. And then we're going to take our blue bands and we're going to go down 8 times with the blue. So 2 bands together going down 8 times. So 3, 4, 5, and 8. Then we're going to take 2 grey bands and place them on, going down once after the blue. If you don't have grey, you could use silver or possibly white. For the face you could probably use white or a flesh colour possibly as well. And then we're going to go down twice with red. So 2 bands again, and that'll take you to the end of your loom. So you've got 1 black, 8 blue, 1 grey and 2 red, and they are all double bands, so you've got 2 bands together going down between each pin. And now we're going to add on some bands to attach this piece to the main design. So we're going to take a single band, we're going to double it over on itself, so it's 1 band doubled, and we're going to place it over the end pin here. So instead of a cap band, you've got a doubled band here. We're going to do the same, working up our loom. So we're going to do 3 red, so we've got 1, so stretch it out, cross it over so it's a figure of 8, double it back onto your fingers, place it over the pin. Like that. So we've got 3 here that are red. We're going to place a grey one here, and then with the rest we're going to do blue. So the last one you're going to add on is this one. You won't need one right at the end, because where you loop up and you have the the open end, that will do the same job as the little doubled bands will do. If that sounds like gibberish to you, then you will see what I mean. You're just going to have to trust me on this one. It does work. It might sound a bit fiddly and a little bit complicated if you haven't done this before, but it's not as bad as you think. And I will explain it as best I can. So I'm just using doubled bands all the way up here. Whoops. And these ones are blue. Like so. And again. All the way up to the last blue band. Like that. So I'm not sure if you can see, but there are little bands on top of all of those pins, all the way up, except for this one. This one doesn't have one. And once you've done that, we're going to loop it up. So taking your hook, going inside that doubled band that we just placed on, holding it on so it doesn't ping off, and you're looping forwards, like so. And then we're going to go all the way up to the end. We're going to go inside all the bands except for the bottom 2 and loop up. So inside all of the bands, the doubled bands and any bands you've looped forward, and you're just looping forward the bottom 2 bands and nothing else. And we're going all the way to the top. So it looks like this when it's all looped up. And as you may be able to see, they're a little bit thicker here where you've got the bands, like so. And once it's all looped up, you can remove it and place it onto a holding hook. I would say place it at the end of your loom, but I think it's probably going to get in the way. So you will need to make 2 of these. So you'll need to pause this video and quickly make another one. And then when you're ready, come back. I'm just going to place this with my other one. So 2 exactly the same. Like so. So I have my 2. So once you do have both, we can start to lay out the main part of Thomas. The first thing we will need to do is to change the loom so that it is a straight configuration. So the 3 rows are all the same length and they're all level with each other and not staggered. So if you turn over your loom, you should have a tool on the end of your hook that looks like this, and you're just going to lever the blue parts to loosen it. So you can take the middle row off. Okay, move them all so they're all the same length, and this will help us to get Thomas to be more square and straight rather than rounded so much at the top. Okay, so once you have your looms, they're all the same length, I'm going to take 2 black bands and we're placing it across the top from the left to the centre and then from the centre to the right, like so. And then on each row we're going to go down once again with 2 black bands. Like so. And then we're going to go down the centre another 3 times with the black. So still, this is all with double bands, with 2 bands, and we're going all the way, going down 4 times. So that's 3, and this will be like the funnel bit. I'm not very good at my parts with trains, but I'm sure any little boy who's a Thomas enthusiast, or even not such a little boy, will be able to tell you what it's called. I think it's called the funnel, whether the steam comes out. You get the bit I mean anyway. And we're going to go down each side 6 times with 2 blue bands. So just working our way down. So that's 3. And, oops, and 4. 5. Oh, and 6, so I can get hold of the bands. I'm going to do the exact same down this side. So 2 bands, going down 6 times. And 6. So this is what your loom should look like now. And then we're going to carry on in the centre. We're going to go down 3 times with the blue. And you should have them all finishing now in a straight line, like so. And we're going to take 2 black bands. And we're going to go down twice on each row with black. Some of these bands are really, really tiny. It's absolutely ridiculous. See if I can find that one. It was so small. It's the smallest band I've seen. If I come across it again, I'll show you. It's just daft. See, they've got a lot of stretch, or it's just useless. So I will show you if it comes across again. Very, very small. But anyway, is it there? No. Okay, anyway, moving on. We're going to go down once with 2 grey bands. So stop waffling and looking for bands, Sally. Get on with Thomas. And you could of course do this in different colours. So you could do it in red and have James, or green and have Percy. Whatever colours you wanted to do. So this is what you should look like so far. And then we're going to go right down to the end of the loom. We're going to use red. So 2 red bands. And we're finishing off going right to the bottom. So it should be twice. Like so. So you should have covered the whole of your loom in bands. We're going to add a cap band on each of these bottom pins here. So again, a single band wrapped 3 times around the pin. And we're doing them individually. So I'm going to add in our triangle bands. Sorry, we're not adding in triangle bands, we're adding in horizontal bands because of the shape of the loom. So the first band I'm going to place on is across where we've just put the cap bands, and this is so you don't end up with like a frilly, it sort of starts to look like this. Otherwise at the bottom, if you can sort of imagine, if you put a band, it helps to hold them all together. Actually, tell a lie, we're not going to place on the horizontal bands just yet. We need to add on the extension, which temporarily slipped my mind. You're probably thinking, why have we made all these bits and we're not going to put them on, but we are. So, taking the black band, and I stretched it over my fingers. I find it easier to use my fingers, but if you find it easier to use your hook, use your hook. And we're placing that over the very, very top pin here. And then if you pull your extension piece down, you'll be able to see they look like little circles where we've placed the double bands. Taking your hook or your fingers, whichever is easiest for you, I'm going to attempt to use my hook. You're going to pull out, take those 2 bands of that little circle, pull them out, and you're going to place them over the pin. Doing the same, so finding the next little circle, pulling it out, 2 bands on your hook, and placing over the next pin. And you're just working down the extension row and your loom, and you're just going to place on these little circular bands. Okay, so each time you want 2 bits of band, placing it over, and you're not missing out any pins or anything like that. You're just going to pull them down, pull them across each of the pins. There's a van stopped outside, just in case you can hear it and you're wondering what the noise is. Okay, and you're just going to work your way down, and as you get to the bottom, if you're finding it's hard to pull the extension piece out to attach it, you can take this bottom loop here and just stretch it over the very last pin like that, which will then hold it in place, and then all you need to do is just find the little circle bands. So there's another one here, and they do sort of stick out, they're not too hard to find, and you're just looping these over. Like so. So you can see there's one of the little circle things. I'll try and explain it again with the second one in case you didn't quite get it. but that's what it looks like. Ah, that's really close. There we go, that's what it looks like once it's on. So we're going to place one down the other side as well. So, removing it from your holding hook or wherever you've put it, placing the top band over the very top pin. And as you can see already, these little bands sticking out. And they're the bands you want to pull out to hook over. And you're just pulling them down. I'm going to work out which way is easier, which way is best for you to see. If you put it down, there you can see you've got the little circle bands here. So whichever side is closest to the loom, and the first one is always the most difficult to find, to get hold of because it's so wobbly, you're just going to find those two loopy bands here and loop them over the pin. Same again, finding the next band and looping it over the next pin down. Okay. The next little circular band goes over the next pin, and you just basically just work down sort of methodically. So as you get to a little loop in your extension piece, that goes over the next pin that hasn't got one on. Okay, and looping round, finding the next little circle, and that goes round, next circle there, round. And like I say, if you find it easier as you get to the end, you can hook the last one over the last pin on this design, just stretch it over, and it will hold it in place while you find other little loops and finish off adding this piece on. This just secures it in. Oh dear. There we go, that one's there. And you've got the two red ones to do now. So there's one there. And one there. So this is what your loom should look like once you've got both extension pieces on, running down both sides. If you do need a little bit more time to add your extension on, then feel free just to pause the video and come back when you're ready. We're going to add on a horizontal bands now. So we're just placing a coordinating band, and we're going across like this all the way up. So obviously placing red bands on top of red, grey on top of grey, so it sort of blends in, and this will just hold the design together so that you don't get the row this side pushing out this way, this row pushing this way, and this one just sort of floating around in the middle looking a little bit odd. So it just keeps it all together. So if you're not sure what colour to do, just go by whichever colour's on the outside. So here's blue, so I'm going to use blue. Like so. Working away all the way up, and then we'll add in the little circle parts that we need to add in for the detail, like so. So I've worked all the way up my loom, placing bands going straight across the 3 pins. I haven't added one right at the end here because you won't need one, it'll just sort of hang and go loopy and look a little bit weird. So we won't need one here because you've got your horizontal bands here and you'll tie it off, so that won't be an issue. We're now going to add on the bands here where you've got the yellow, and down here we've got black. They're a little bit hidden, but they are there. So to add these in, we'll do the black ones first. We're going to take 2 black bands, double the same as we did on the extension, and you're placing these over the pins that's sort of second from bottom, so it's here and you've got your last pin here, so it's sort of one up from the bottom on both of the sides, like so, and they'll just sit around the pin. And then moving up to the top, we're going to take 2 yellow bands like this, and these again will be doubled, and these are going on the 3rd pin down. So from the top, count down 1, 2, 3, and they go in there. Again, double it, push down, and like so. So you've got your little circle bands in here and here. The last thing to attach is the face. This is very fiddly to attach, I won't lie to you. So you want to take your hook and you want to find sort of 2 bands towards the bottom of the face. So these ones, if you can see from the front, that's where it is. And they're the band that's sort of directly at the bottom of his face. His face is upside down, you can see where his eyes are. So, and that way up. Like that. It's a little bit odd like that, I have to admit. And we're just going to initially attach these. We're not going to attach the top just yet because we will need to loop up the bands in between. But we're placing it on this pin here. So from the top, this is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8th pin down. And it's where you've got the blue band that then goes to black. Okay, so just pull that down and place it over that pin, just there, and it will just sit like that, if you can see. So the band is just around this pin here, like that. And then we can begin to loop. So taking your hook, we're going in, we're going to go up the sides first, and then I can explain about the faces afterwards. So you're going in through the end pin, and I'll try and hold this somehow, so you can see. And all you want to do is you want to push back all bands except for the bottom 2 bands, pull up just the bottom 2, and loop forwards and onto the one with the black band on. Then you're going inside all of the bands again, inside the extension and that little wrap band and all of them, just the bottom 2, looping them forward, and we're doing the exact same thing all the way up to the end of the loom. So grabbing the bottom 2 bands that are grey and looping those forward, bottom 2 bands that were black, looping those forward again, and you're just repeating this every time. So only the bottom 2, all other bands would just stay where they are. And by looping these bands, you are securing everything else in place as well, so the extension will stay in place and everything. So that one's going to go on top of the yellow. You're going inside the yellow, and ignore the noisy aeroplane if you can, and looping forward those 2 black. So done one side, I'm going to go up the other side now. So again, starting back at the bottom, inside this cat band, finding the bottom 2 red bands and bringing it round and on top of the black, inside the black. Sorry, I can't quite see, just need to tilt it like so. Try and tilt it this way, then at least you'll be able to see. So grey one's coming forward, black one's coming forward, like so. And then we're on to blue. Oh, that one missed. like that. And I've looped up both of the sides, so I'm now going to go up the centre. And again, finding the bottom two bands, looping forward, bottom two bands, looping forward, just going to hold that down so it doesn't pop off again. And you're looping up to this pin here where you've attached the face. Just loop it round. Then you want to take the face, just pull it to one side like so and loop forward like normal. So you've done that one there, and then that your face is held in place, and you can pull it back or you can just pull it forward, whichever way is easiest. And then we're looping forward up to where the black bands start again. So you've got the three bands in the middle, the three blue bands in the middle, sorry. And then you want to take some of the bands from the top of his head and stretch over the top of the blue band here. So you've looped up the blue band and you're placing this grey band on top from the face, and you go down inside, find the black bands, and then that's your face secured, and then you can continue to loop up. Like so. And once you've looped up all of your loom like so, that's what it should look like. You can just do the last two bands, and you want to loop, as you can see here, or hopefully you can see here, you've got one band that's on top of the other band. Whichever band here is on top, you want to loop that first from the outside. So my one is here, so I'm going to loop, go inside this pin here, take those two bands, hopefully it's not going to snap, there we go, and loop it into the centre. I'm just going to push that down, and then I'm going to take inside the centre pin, I'm going to find the last two bands and loop them over to the side. So you're finishing on a side pin rather than a centre pin for this design. You can always add in a band afterwards if you want to hang it so it's hanging straight, but for now I'm going to use this side pin. So taking two bands of whatever colour you choose, I'm going to use two black, but if you want to use two blue or two red you can, doesn't matter, entirely your choice. And the pin that we've just looped onto, that last band is looped from the centre onto, take your hook down through that pin and push the bands back and push the hook out of the side of all of those bands. Place the two bands over the end of your hook, hold with your finger, keep it as tight as you can, and pull up through all of those bands. So you've got the two bands are going through those bands there. Pull it around the back of the hook, so it's like this. Taking the top two bands over the bottom two bands and over the ends of the hook and pulling tight to make a slip knot. And once you've done that, you can remove your design, whoops, from your loom. So if you just want to pull it straight off, feel free. I'm going to be very cautious, very careful, and remove them one pin at a time. I think with loom designs, generally they're quite girly. So a design for a little boy wouldn't go amiss. And I don't think there's many little boys out there that don't like trains, so trains or football, I guess, or sport of some kind. But either way, this is more boyish than girly, so save the boys getting overlooked. Okay, take them off your loom. give them a little stretch like that, and you will notice that your little round bands, you can see the yellow ones but not the black. The black you'll just need to sort of get hold of and just pull them through so you can see them. Just manipulate them a little bit, give them a little bit of encouragement to come through like so. And there we have our Thomas Tank Engine design. So I hope you've enjoyed making him. Please like and comment, let me know what you think of this tutorial and of the design, and hit subscribe to be notified when I bring out new tutorials, which I'm trying to do every couple of days at the moment. I am on Instagram and Twitter at Sally's Looming if you'd like to find me on there, showing pictures of your designs. And if you do any other colours, if you do a Percy or a James or an Edward, I know there's an Edward and a Henry as well. So whichever way you decide to go, or whether you just stick with Thomas, it'd be lovely to see how yours turn out. I'm also on Facebook. If you search Sally's Looming, all one word, and you will find my group on there, where again you can show me pictures of your finished designs. You can comment on all of my social media and make requests if there's anything in particular you'd like to see made. Alternatively, you can just comment under this video. Any way is good to me. They will all good for. Any way is good. They will all get to me. If I can get my words out. So there we go. So thanks for watching, and I will see you next time, hopefully. Bye.